93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
It's another beautiful Wednesday morning, the 18th day in the month of September 2024. With so much excitement, I welcome you to From the Dailies on Solutions at 93.9 FM. My name is AYODEJI LAFENWA. A beautiful, beautiful morning to our esteemed listener out there. And of course, I've got Comrade AYODEJI AJISOPE live in the studio with me this morning. A beautiful morning to you, Comrade AYODEJI.
Comrade brother, and our listeners and viewers out there, I say good morning to you.
All right, this morning I have 4 newspapers to take you through, and after going through the major headlines on the front pages of these newspapers, we'll be talking about, or let me say, we'll be running the analysis, getting the perspective, your perspective, and as well the perspective of our analyst in the house this morning. Starting with the Vanguard newspaper this beautiful Wednesday morning. Now, looking at the Vanguard newspaper this Wednesday morning, I have this one saying, Abdul Salami to FG, situation is bad. Listen to Nigerians' cries. That story is found on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. And this is another call coming from another retired military general. This is about insecurity now. Insecurity, you can end banditry now. T.Y. Danjuma tasks service chiefs. That story is also found on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, with about 3 days to the Edo Gibo election, there is so much rush concerning the political terrain of that particular state. And this is the account is given on the Vanguard newspaper as Edo Gibo, PDP, APC, LP in last-minute rush for votes. That story is found on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the biggest story on the front page of Vanguard newspaper this morning says NNPCL Dangote, fresh dispute emerges over supply volume. And there are riders, NNPC hints of undersupply from Dangote. We have delivered 111 million liters Dangote. Excess supply looms as NNPC imports 135 million liters. Why oil marketers cannot import lift from Dangote, NNPCL. FG should provide welfare packages, CPPE. Okay, away from that now, let me take this one. Fraud, foreigners giving Nigeria bad name. FG insists. That story is found on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving away from the Vanguard newspaper, taking a look at the Nigerian Tribune this morning. This one says 8 killed, 2,800 injured as Hezbollah fighters' pages explode in alleged Israeli attack. That story is found on page 3.
That was a master stroke.
I'm telling you. I am telling you.
Can you imagine?
It was
how deeply that the Israeli intelligence got into the Hezbollah hierarchy.
And the funny thing,
3,000 pages exploding almost simultaneously.
well arranged, well programmed.
I mean, for them to access their pages.
It tells you how sophisticated their weaponry is.
Oh yeah, especially. In fact, yes. What struck me yesterday when I saw that story was, you see, the work of intelligence, the importance of intelligence. Deep inside, how could they be so deep inside that they could access their pages? 3,000 pages. Back. Killing about 10 of them.
Okay, back home now. Abure-led LP fights back as Usman interim leadership seeks annex recognition. Page 28. A lot of crisis rocking that party now, talking about Labour Party.
Wow.
We'll talk about that in the course of the program if time permits us. Supreme Court judgment on LG financial autonomy may only remain implementable on paper. Niyi Akintola, page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. FAC, FD states LG's share 1.203 trillion naira August revenue, page 6. And the biggest story on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, PDP BOT meets Wike behind closed doors. And riders, you can't set Bauchi on fire, Governor dares FCT Minister. Insists PDP Governors Forum stands by Fubara. That story is found on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Away from that story, let me take 3 more stories. End banditry killings now. No room for excuses. Let me take that again. End banditry. End banditry killings now. No room for excuses. Danjuma tells service chiefs. And another one says it is illegal for NNPCL to fix price of Dangote petrol. Femi Falana. The story is found on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. Looking at the Punch newspaper this morning, governorship poll, 35,000 cops arrive Edo. Why? Comrade Adejim, what is election?
Elections that in some countries, elections are conducted and you don't even know elections are ongoing.
I remember the last presidential election in America. I mean, people were it was so peaceful. I could barely see any security or maybe any law enforcement.
Elections are not conducted, even the presidential elections are not conducted by one central organization. The Secretary of State, like the SSG, in every state is responsible for the conduct of whatever elections. They will just announce, you understand, and return, you understand, the electoral colleges and whatever, and return to the Senate. It is the Senate, that discharges that responsibility of determining who has won via electoral colleges. But one must, I think people already started voting in America's presidential election now. Sending your mail, your voter's mail in. Soldiers all over America's military men, all over the world, they're going to vote wherever they're going there.
Wherever they are in the world.
Even after election, you can still send your 24
Now
hours.
we are talking about just a state in Nigeria, Edo State, with 35,000 cops. 35,000 cops. Let me, maybe as you use another word for that, cops. 35,000 police officers arrive Edo as joint forces. Then you'll be how many police officers do we have in Nigeria as a whole?
As joint forces begin,
if 35,000 are being deployed to one state
for election purposes.
Okay, and right under that story says military, NSCDC, EFCC personnel back up police team.
Now, apart from the 35,000 policemen, 2 DIGs, and all of that.
Military is there too.
I praise them.
Military is also included. Apart from the 35,000
NSCDC will be there.
Police officers, NSCDC officials will be there. EFCC personnel are backing up the police team.
You see,
of 35,000
our history
capacity
is affected
on one state.
Our history. You know that I was saying our history, where we're coming from. We militarize everything. Even the inauguration of the political leaders, we militarize it.
Okay, let me take 2 more stories from the Punch newspaper before we go to the other paper now. 3 Oyo students remanded for allegedly causing colleague's death. That story is found on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. PDP shifts NEC meeting over state congress crisis. Away from the Punch newspaper, let's take the last newspaper I have on my table this morning, and that is the Guardian newspaper. Panic in Abuja over vibrations from multiple earth tremors. Lagos state government seeks accountability, says this misdiagnosis costs patients 40% more. Let me take that again. Lagos state government seeks accountability, says misdiagnosis costs patients 40% more. Okay, I've taken
Imagine that.
Nigeria on flood alert as Cameroon's Lagdo Dam releases water.
You remember that there was a misdiagnosis of Khalifa Remy. That was why there was a misdiagnosis initially. Apart from the fact that they were diagnosing something else.
But why are these people in charge of this committing this grave error? Misdiagnosis.
Well, you see, the patients too should be careful. You go for a second opinion and a third opinion. You see, people don't ask questions when they go to hospital. You go to hospital, they just call prescribe. You go to the pharmacy, you collect, you start drinking, you start ingesting. You don't ask what is wrong with me. I was asking, I said, what's wrong with your son? He said, man, what's a week? I said, what's the meaning of what's a week? You accompany your son to the hospital and you just obey. They're not gods. It is only gods that you obey.
And today being the 18th day in the month of September, it is World Patient Safety Day. And there is a caption on the front page of the Guardian newspaper saying that Nigeria battles spike in medical errors, negligence in hospitals. Probably we'll start from this in our analysis this morning. Nigeria battles spike in medical errors, negligence in hospitals. I mean, we've had cases of some surgery going wrong, maybe negligences or errors of. I've actually seen a woman who had a CS, and she said after the thing was done, she was being covered up. I mean, closed up. A towel was left in a human being.
Yeah.
That after like 2 days, I think she
spreading.
started. No, I think she lost consciousness. But luckily for her mom is also a medical doctor, so she was rushed to the hospital.
And then
Back to
they
the
had to
hospital.
open her up
They had to
again.
open her up again.
Can you imagine?
I mean, and we've had cases of this happening in our Nigerian hospitals these days. And today being the World Patient Safety Day, let's talk about this.
You see, patients should not act ignorantly. I mean, you should ask questions. You have a right to. You understand? You have a right to just go and they start passing you around. You understand? You need to ask questions. You need to. You see, they cannot get you. You are not a mechanical device that you just press buttons and your body is not going to respond maximally to treatment if you are not actually cooperating. You need to know. Look, a cousin of mine that is undergoing chemo. That reminds me. Undergoing chemo. The last one she went for, one other doctor was there, just to attend to her. And then we're going to do a mix, a ratio. It's always a mixture of stuff. And then the doctor was going to do a ratio. But because she took interest and she knew the ratio of how they were going to mix the chemicals, she said, no, that is not the ratio. And she insisted that she was not going to take the chemo until the consultant came in. And the consultant said,
That was because she knew.
She took interest. And the consultant said, God saved you.
That means the patients too, we should be very observant
You
when
have
we
to
are.
be involved. Now imagine if she did not, and when she said, no, I'm not going to take it.
We've had cases of people losing their lives in the hospital as a result of wrong prescription being given or maybe wrong dosage being given to the patient.
35 years ago, my immediate senior sister, God bless her soul, a medical doctor, told me, said, look, AYODEJI, if you come to the hospital, I prescribe 3 drugs to you. Maybe one is for what your ailment, at least max 2. The third one is to correct the damage that the 2 that is supposed to heal you will do to your body. Have you forgotten when we were growing up that when you go to a pharmacy, you will see a box and there will be a label on it, poison.
Poison, yeah.
Have you forgotten? So poison is
Sometimes they even put the picture of a skull.
and that would write poison. And that is what's being dispelled. So people should ordinary these things, the analgesics, should be careful. People should get to know that. But it's like you have a car. don't you understand your car? Yeah, so that's our body. We are riding and driving our body around. We should understand our body speaks to us.
But that is now on the part of the patient.
It
Now,
is.
now let's talk about the part of the medical experts. Now, there are some cases that the people are rushed to the hospital at emergency situations, and the attitude of the nurses, the attitude of the medical people you meet on ground, you begin to wonder: do these people value lives at all? These are things I've witnessed personally. I mean, the way they just make everything look so simple and. If you want them there, you know, sometimes a patient on emergency might even be left unattended to for minutes.
Minutes?
For minutes.
For hours. You see, well.
Do we say they are not getting enough orientation about?
You can look. Let me tell you. You can be sure that Nigerians medical personnel are trained, well trained. I can tell you that they are very well trained. But you see, no matter how very well trained you are, and then you now go to the operational field and you don't have the basics. A cousin of mine dropped, fell from a third floor. And the guy was broken up. Maybe a 6'4", 6'5" person, a basketball. And then the guy was broken up. And one doctor was telling me they were under intense pressure. He told me that 2 nurses were attending to 18 patients in an emergency ward. 2 nurses attending to 18 patients in emergency ward, not a regular ward. 2 nurses. How will 2 nurses attend to in an emergency ward? And the doctor himself, and there was a crowd. The guy was at a point, and you know how doctors work. You will do the regular shifts, and then you will be on call. And you are probably even working elsewhere in one private hospital. You are probably working 18 to 20 hours. And then you don't have the basics to work with. You don't have the basics. I was at Abuad. We were taking on a 2-day guided tour of Abuad. Where did they get oxygen from in UCH? Oxygen. You don't buy it. Abuad produces that. What are all these things? And then when you hear of how much the budget is, and what goes into what? Do you know they pay for power in UCH? Power.
I know.
Patients pay. There was a day. That's cousin of mine, I'm told. She went to the hospital. She was to spend 3-4 days or max 3 days there. 4 days they couldn't conduct basic tests that had to run before she could be treated. Imagine what if it was an emergency and they will not take results of tests from any other institution apart from that. Yet there was no power, brother, no power to conduct basic tests. What are we doing? Are we serious?
Now, before we wrap up this particular topic, we shouldn't
no
forget.
water too. No water. Hospital.
We shouldn't forget the infiltration of the quacks too in medical field. We've had the cases of quacks setting up hospitals, conducting surgeries and everything. Yeah. Is the government not doing enough, at least, to curb this? And even those that are professional too, their attitude to work, their attitude to patients who are on the lifeline.
You see, I keep saying this. I know my rights, and I'm going to enforce my rights. I'm not going to allow anybody to ride roughshod over me in whatever space, you understand? So people should insist in a very civil manner, you understand? In a very civil manner, that the right things be done. I go to the hospital, but I guess, you see, one thing I know is that those people, they are trained. Of course, they're medical personnel. They size you up before they start relating to you anyhow, you understand? So they size you up.
You feel so. Or you know so.
They are trained now. How can you be? They are trained. They size you up before they start relating to you anyhow. When they size you up and profiling now. They do profiling before they start relating to you anyhow.
All right, let's move away from that, okay? And let's go to Edo election now. Few days to election, about 3 days to the Edo Gibe election, and there is this rush. Every party seems to be doing the last-minute rush for its vote. But let's take a listen at Philip Shaibu He had this to say concerning his principal, Godwin Obaseki, and the prospect of his new party, which is the APC. Let's take a listen at that.
He went back home.
The governor has not been able to provide leadership. The governor has created division in his party, and that's what has led to exodus of members out of PDP to APC. And we left APC to join PDP when we perceived that there was oppression. And returning back, we returned with same people plus the legacy PDP. So as we speak today, the heart of PDP has left to APC. And what is left there is just Obaseki and his so-called group. So I am confident because politics have a structure. The structure of PDP has left to APC to join the structure of APC. And when it comes to practical politics, people control their area. And those that are the heart of the politics of Edo State are now in APC. And when it comes to public sympathy and what the people want, they don't want another governor that will come and divide us. They want development. They want to see development. They want to feel the people. They want to touch the people. They want to touch their governor. They don't want a packaged governor again. Obaseki was a packaged governor.
Now, that was Philip Shaibu saying Obaseki, that is Godwin Obaseki, was a packaged governor. But when he made that statement, I hope he remembered that he was his deputy. Or he's still his deputy. Probably he's also a packaged deputy. I mean, when you look at the utterances of these political gladiators, sometimes
I am tempted,
condemning the same government that you canvassed for, that you sweated for.
Sometimes when I see people, politicians talk like this, I am tempted to bear my mind, but I will restrain myself. You see, well, the big question is, what do these guys stand for?
You're talking about the politicians in general.
What do they stand for? In the morning you are having breakfast with APC. By lunchtime you are in the home of PDP. For dinner you are in bed with Labour. What do they stand for? What do they stand? You see, this is why we say there are no parties. What is a political party? Let's not even talk about ideology. Let's talk about convictions. Let's talk about strategies. Let's talk about goals. Let's even talk about individuals. You know, birds of the same feather. They say they flock together. String bedfellows. The only objective is power.
Every other thing doesn't matter to them.
Grab power, and you're going to see. You see, anybody that wins election in Edo State, I am totally, what do you call that one? Obaseki. Obaseki apparently mismanaged. He enjoyed a lot of goodwill. You understand? He enjoyed a lot of goodwill. But at the same time, I'm not sure he got his balancing act well politically. He did not. And he also has issues with the Benin Kingdom.
Traditionals too.
And I'm told, believe you me, that this guy, this one talking, was
Philip Shaibu, his deputy.
Philip Shaibu had a leeway. Philip Shaibu was virtually the one doing the politicking. You understand? Because Obaseki was not a politician. You understand? Obaseki was and is still a technocrat. And some of these things you cannot learn. You can't learn. It's like you are teaching an old dog new tricks. Obaseki cannot learn their own politicking. Obaseki cannot learn it. Ordinarily, Obaseki will have left after that one time. But it is politicians that push Obaseki to continue and push him. Now, Obaseki is not a politician. He cannot be. That's just his makeup. But this one.
So probably that was why he said he's a packaged governor.
You see, packaged to what end? What is the meaning of packaged? You see, we should see through what that man means. what it actually means is that, you see, politicians in this place, in Nigeria, what they mean you are a politician is that you can take government resources and share it. That is what it means. So that was why the governor of Oyo State ran into trouble with politicians. So don't forget. So you know that was why the man ran into trouble with politicians, because he was not doing the usual sharing. Sharing. Let's share it, take it and share it. When this governor
The national cake.
let's share it. They say our governor want to be following you around. I say, man, follow me around. I say, you have to mobilize us. I say, I'll be using state resources to mobilize you. Okay, what are you following the man around for? The man is going, and this idea of, okay, where we copy these things. So have you seen a governor of a state going to commission a project in the United States, or you see the American millions of taxpayers' money
Just come and commission a kilometer road.
One day I went into a government house and I saw one huge standing old bed, this usual wall clock, not so standing clock. And I called the director of protocol. I said, how much did you buy that clock? Why did you get it? And he told me. I didn't say one word because I knew that was 10 times the price.
That he actually gave you.
That's how much they bought it now. See, governance is anybody that doesn't allow it. The man's thinking cannot be the same thinking with what do you call that one? Philip Shai.
Now, I don't want you to digress from that. You were talking about the package thing.
Yes, package. Okay, what did Oshiomhole say about him? Oshiomhole said that Obaseki was virtually the brain box, the technocratic box that was giving them ideas and delivering it. He said that actually it was Obaseki that all those achievements that he succeeded in delivering, it was Obaseki and his team, which included this Ighodalo, that conceptualized it. Now, where was Oshiomhole coming from? Aluta. He's Aluta now. Everything that is not Aluta, he cannot conceive it. You understand? So he recognized his deficiency.
Okay.
He recognized his deficiency, and that's a great hallmark of leadership. Acknowledging your deficiency and finding solutions to it. So he went to, and he said that was why he said it was packaged. That it was Oshiomhole that packaged him. He said everything you saw me do, it was him that's conceptualized it. Yeah, some of them will look like stuff from Utopia. You understand? Because there must be a nexus between whatever you want to do and the people, because it is to serve the interest of the people. That is it. I think there was a little bit of gap in that regard, because it has to be bottom to top, not top to bottom.
Now, still talking about this rush, the last-minute rush for vote. Interestingly, even the contenders, talking about the candidates, are not even as popular, because the names we always see in the news now, it's more of an election between Oshiomhole
and
Obaseki, Shaibu, even Monday Opeolo and Asue Ighodalo, who are the main contenders too, are kind of, so it seems like the Edo Guber election is more of a vote between Oshiomhole and Obaseki. It's not going to. Is the vote will actually be for those candidates or for these gladiators who have been speaking on them?
They are sponsors now. Have you forgotten? In 2007 here, it was Babade Dibu, the sponsor of Akala, that was virtually on the ticket. He was the one that ran around everywhere and made sure that his candidate won. So, and it was Babade Dibu and the rest against the rest of Ibadan and Oyo State.
so why are our elections sponsors like that?
Ego trip. You see, Oshiomhole, this is his revenge. You understand? I suspect that APC, except Edo people, understand. You understand? Except Edo people think that they are at stake. If Edo people think Obaseki has served them, but Edo people and Edo State politically is a yo-yo state.
Of all the candidates, that I know, I think it's only the Labour Party, Olumide Akpata, that has been speaking for himself at the rallies and everything.
He has been speaking. Where has he been speaking? He has been speaking on television. Yeah, it's not
It's been going to communities, I mean, to
a few communities.
interact with people.
A few communities. I think it's just preparing for the big day. You understand?
Now, let's talk about the deployment now of
The deployment.
security forces
It
for
is,
that election, a day election.
There's nothing new about it.
Not forgetting the fact, I mean, between Monday and, let me say Sunday, between Sunday and yesterday, I read numerous stories of kidnapping, banditry taking place in different places in Nigeria. I mean, it has gotten so worse that you see a group of bandits will just enter a particular community, take people in tens.
In hundreds.
In hundreds.
Okay.
And this happens on a daily basis, but we don't get to hear deployment of security forces. Now, for an election,
Security.
we're having 35,000 police officers to be backed by military,
You see.
to be backed by the NSCDC officials, to be backed by EFCC, just for an election.
From what we have seen, you saw what Israel did to Hezbollah in Lebanon. How many troops were deployed? How many troops were deployed? It is about intelligence. Security is not so physical anymore. Security is not so physical. You put 35,000. Okay, what are they going to be acting? Do they have specific instructions that these are the hotspots? This is the intel we have from this. This is what is evolving from there. You understand? Prevention is better than cure. You nip it in the bud. All these physical, two DIGs deployed to Edo. For what? INEC is going to pay all those guys you are seeing, though. You know INEC is paying them.
Definitely.
In fact, they will have received their alert before they go. I know that's the standard procedure. INEC pays them before they are deployed. As soon as their names are submitted, by this evening, it'll be election Saturday. By this evening or tomorrow morning, they will have received all those 35,000 police, and everybody will have received their alert to go. Because I know people that are going. They will have received their alert. To do what? Now, these policemen that will be at the police station, they won't carry guns. Have you noticed that? They won't carry. That's the standard procedure. They will not carry guns. That is the operational procedure. They will not carry guns, and you won't see them with walkie-talkie. So, what security purpose
Are they serving?
And probably just one or two, and then you will now see politicians going around with 10, 5, 6 policemen. You see, security, I think it's just intimidation. In 2003, I was sorry for this country. The day Obasanjo's re-election, I came out in the morning and I saw Nigeria's military, and I mean the military, deployed in battle gear. I mean battle gear. You know those camouflage stuff that they put on vehicles. I said, our second election, or our first election as a democracy, they deployed the soldiers. What for? I mean, we should. Our society is, our democracy is militarized. See the handing over, the inauguration, military parade back everywhere. What is it? And then they will swear one oath of office and swear one oath of allegiance, and it will last minutes. The American president, the oath of office takes less than 1 minute.
Yes.
It is not that long. It's one length. What do we have transparency? So all these things is not. You will see. Whichever election Saturday, by Thursday you will see. You will hear what what security reports we will get.
Okay, because we are still talking about politics now. It's in case you're just tuning in, you're on to Solutions 93.9 FM, and the program is From the Dailies, trashing out major stories in some of today's national dailies. And it's also on the paper, one of the papers this morning, because we are still talking about politics, of course. PDP BOT meets Wike behind closed doors.
Wike is a strong man. It cannot be easily pushed aside. And I think PDP is recognizing that.
Because I was going to ask you that. It seems
they don't want to lose him.
The individual called Nyesom Wike, it seems to be bigger, larger than the party.
Well,
because I with what he has been alleged to have been doing, let me put them under anti-party activities. I don't see any other individual doing such and not getting sanctioned.
And
heavy sanction at that.
It is setting a dangerous precedent. You see, he did that, and he's gotten away with it. I was asking myself when I heard BOT was going to meet him, I was saying, they will be telling him, yes, so we can
Oh, the
oh, the
Oh, the Shano. But with the way it looks, it looks more like that.
What,
They had to call it because he made some utterances concerning this coming election in Edo State. He said he will never support Obaseki's whatever party. He will never. But we can't forget that I remember his contribution to the success of Obaseki.
You remember
Then-
how many times he traveled to Obase to travel to
In fact,
Obaseki?
I think he was even the chairman of the campaign committee. I can't even remember.
Yes,
He played a
they
major role.
mobilized. Even
Yeah,
our
he
governor,
played a major role.
they mobilized. He got, you see,
And Obaseki swept almost all the local governments.
and
then.
he got the support of the people. You see, he got people to mobilize for him, and he got the support. You know, people love supporting underdogs. It's a natural mental disposition of the human being. When you see somebody and you think they are cheating or oppressing the man, people will naturally support him. Or they will not endorse. If they cannot handle the other party, if it's so strong, they will not endorse what he's doing. But you will see that they are not supporting. They are supporting the underdog. That's why I said Obaseki must have it's not must have. It is apparent that he mismanaged the goodwill, forgetting that a day like this will come, and that day is there. I don't think he can survive it.
But was the BOT meeting with Wike, was it more of the Edo Guba election or the general
They
PDP,
will have
and not
to-
forgetting the issue of Fubara too?
They will have to put everything together and prioritize it, which is most important now. You understand? APC is desperate to seize, what do they call it? To seize a Delta, the Edo. Rivers is in the hands of PDP. We do not know which party will take it. But Edo in particular is off-season, the one they call off-season election. So the governor of Edo will be in place, you understand, during the general elections. They won't be re-electing the governor in Edo. So that is key, to the South. He will not be fighting re-election. He will be sitting confidently as a sitting governor, you understand? So that is key. So if we can read our president, the man is strategic in his calculations, and like they're doing in Kano, I think they're going to do in Edo. I don't think, I do not, and you see, this man, Igodalo, he has not gotten his message across. What message has he been getting across? You understand? Neither has Opebolo too. Well, Opebolo said he was going to deliver insecurity. You see, two candidates, one is on this extreme end, the other one is on the other extreme. But whatever happens, it is the Edo people that will be the losers. I do not know the weight and the influence of the Esama of Benin anymore, and his family. I do not know how Obaseki has been. Obaseki has mismanaged his goods.
But anything can happen in the last, even in 24 hours to election.
I agree with you.
Anything can happen.
I agree with you. You can't rule out anything. But I think
Even few hours to the election too.
I agree with you. But I suspect it is, except that people think that don't take us for a ride. And I think Edo people are smart too. When you're talking about smart people,
they are very, very smart.
Edo Delta people, they are very, very smart. So let us see the decision Edo people will take. But I think they have been swayed in the direction of APC.
Okay, let's talk about the general issue now. This is coming from an ex-military head of state. That is General Abdul Salami Abubakar, retired General Salami Abubakar, and he's urging the federal government. He said, Abdul Salami to FG, situation is bad. Listen to Nigerians' cries. Now, when somebody of that reputation is now coming out to speak on behalf of Nigerians, do we now say that our leaders are truly not connected to us, our present leaders now? Because he made the statement emphatically. I don't want to waste time. I will have read how he's put it actually.
You see, I do not envy Bola Ahmed Tinubu for coming into office at this particular juncture in the history of Nigeria. The role of a leader and why it's so called is to provide necessary leadership. The only problem is that his body language, you understand, and the utterances of his lieutenants and their conduct, you understand, is not in tune with the season or seasons of hardship that has been imposed on Nigerians. And you know, information is flying everywhere about, you know, the luxurious, ostentatious, buying a yacht, buying a jet,
presidential jet,
and even the regular things, SUVs of 150, 160, 200 million being procured, and all of that. Something so number of billions to complete a vice presidential lodge that Professor Oshibajo rejected, and all of that. You understand? That information is all over the place. So it is creating an impression that they are not mindful. They are just going on as if things are normal. Even if things are normal, people are going through hardship. My dear brother, people are going through hardship, and the body language of those in public space is not reflecting the hardship Nigerians are going through. The American president pays for the look. The wife of the president will order anything. You can order. They will just be saying yes sir, yes ma'am.
Now,
you order anything.
For our listeners to understand the point General Abdul Salami Abubakar was making, let me read a statement now. He said, everybody is crying about this hardship, and it seems to be getting out of control. People cannot afford 3 square meals.
When I saw you said 3 square meals, I said, three? Are you talking 3?
You are even rich if you can even afford 2.
You're talking 3 square meals?
Now, let me continue. He said, the issue of transportation, the hike in fuel, the hike in school fees for the children, and the lack of funds in everybody's pocket is making life difficult for everybody. As put in his words.
I had a long conversation yesterday evening with a niece of mine. She lives in Lagos.
But sorry, it baffles me when the likes of Bayo Onanuga will now come out and say things are not that way.
That is what Bayo Onanuga is paid to do. Don't forget that. Have you ever seen any presidential spokesperson that talks differently? That is what Bayo Onanuga is paid to do. The moment you take such a job, you are going to be defending your principal. That is your job. You don't have any other assignment. But the way you do it, you understand? Have you forgotten? This man, Ruben Abati. People were shocked when he started defending Jonathan and all that. This is Ruben Abati. But that is the way it works. So, that is the job. The moment you take such a job, you have to weigh it before.
And some people said that jokingly that probably that was what Ajuri Ngelale couldn't meet up to. That was just
that one overstepped his bounds. Ajuri Ngelale did not qualify for that office. It's as simple as he did not have the network. He did not have the weight, the shoulders to carry that office. He got that office. I mean, just by through people who did not understand what it takes. So. That's it. But when Abdul Salami spoke, I was a bit taken aback. Believe you me, I was a bit taken aback that if Abdul
Salami could speak,
and
could say
that
this
is against the backdrop of the meeting held in Mina between Obasanjo, Abdul Salami,
and IBB.
I mean, those are not, those signs. What are the interpretations? you could say, okay, they want to do a joint letter, or they're going to ask Obasanjo to write a letter to,
because he's the letter, he's the he's the grandmaster of letter writing.
They're going to ask Obasanjo.
Another open letter.
Maybe he has gone to show them the draft of the letter. He has written.
That's my uncle there.
Yeah, he's my father. I worked and lived with Jerry Obasanjo.
Okay.
So, and I'm an Egba man, and I'm a woman to boot. So something, but you see, something keeps giving me this idea that after all, we might see light, but the more we hope, the darker it is getting. You understand? Hello, Fokambale, and all those things.
Can Nigerians Fokambale in this situation?
Where is the space to Fokambale? Look, people are trying to stay.
Even the Fokambale is not the issue now, but how long?
Do you have to? You see,
Fokambale.
that is the problem. That is the challenge. If you are saying, I'm taking you on a journey, you understand? We must know the destination, and we must know the route. We must know and the means and mode of transportation, and the captains. You understand? So we don't have a clue. It's like Emma telling me, Carlo, where are we headed? How are we going there? So, and the factors that will determine whether things will ease out or not, the exchange rate is critical. The exchange rate of the naira to the dollar is critical. Is it going to look good in the next 3 months? Yesterday, it exchanged for 1,600 and something. Yesterday evening, the naira closed at 1,000, losing 116 naira to the dollar. Yesterday, who knows what's going to happen today? We have been told by the time Dangote begins, that was before that man went away, left office. By the time Dangote did this, NNPC is in the middle of all this. NNPC is a regulator. NNPC is a player. How can you be a?
We are still coming to an NNPC
so
issue now.
This issue is critical to our turnaround. Would there be a relief for the naira? If there is relief for the naira, then there is likelihood we'll see some shift. But without any relief to the naira, you see, this, before I don't want to jump the gun when we get to that. So it is troubling, my dear brother. It is troubling. So I spoke to my niece yesterday for a long time yesterday. She lives in Oworoshoki, and she was telling me that if the time you come out determines how much you are going to pay for transport. That if you come out around 7:38, you will pay as much as 1,500 naira from Oworoshoki to CMS.
You know, we're talking about schools resumption yesterday.
Yes.
I read the report last night that the turnout of pupils at some schools was very low, because parents apparently couldn't even afford, especially students that are attending schools far away from
commuting. The cost of commuting.
Even the kids are not even well fed. You have not been able to even put the food on their table, let alone sending them to school.
This morning, I'm a teacher, and when I see children that are supposed to be in school and are not in school, I will ask. One woman rode with me this morning, and I saw about a 6-year-old girl. I said, no school today. Of course, the response was not immediate. So there were certainly underlying
Factors.
such as
Definitely.
just mentioned now.
Definitely.
You understand?
Definitely.
Books. Fees will be jacked up.
Definitely.
My niece that I was speaking with yesterday told me that by the end of this year, she was sure that people are going to stop going to work simply because they cannot afford to get to work.
But you know, in the midst of all this, actually, we're talking about, I've had the opportunity of speaking with some Nigerians, having conversation with them, and they will tell me that, yes, these things are needed. We need to go through all these if we want a better Nigeria. But I keep asking them the question, for how long do Nigerians have to go through this?
If you ask me to, I will tell you the same things that, look, the price we have to pay now at this point. When subsidy was introduced, way back in 1973, that was when subsidy was first introduced. When the Israeli-Arab war started and the price of gasoline, that was the first time queues appeared in the United States. We had queues in Nigeria too then, when the price of gasoline went up. But we had a buffer, you understand? We had a buffer in a huge, in a huge deposit of for foreign exchange. So, but we are not doing pay as you go. You understand? We don't have any reserve that we can fall back on. In 2010, when we made a windfall, and they said whatever crude account, excess crude account, the government went to the Supreme Court and said, let's share the money. So rather than, if they had started building, they continued building it, we have had a fallback position. So we're doing pay as you go now. You sell crude.
Okay, now that you have even launched the crude, the oil issue now, probably should even go into it now. Now, looking at the dispute between Dangote Refinery and NNPCL, it's still lingering.
There is no dispute.
Fresh dispute.
There is no dispute.
It wasn't my word, though. It wasn't my word. It is as the account given by Vanguard. NNPCL Dangote, fresh dispute emerges over supply volume.
You see, it is NNPC that is creating all of this thing, though. And I'm amused by the way Dangote media people are managing there.
But you know, it is believed in some quarters now that it seems Dangote Refinery is a bad market for NNPCL.
Dangote,
bad market in quote.
Dangote
which both of us understand
is not bad market for NNPCL. Dangote Refinery is bad market for those elements we talked about that are embedded
in NNPCL.
Yes. Elements. In and out. You know, you are collaborators outside.
Definitely.
Those elements. It is not bad market. Look, Nigeria itself is a huge market. We have the West African market. We have the whole, how many refineries do we have in Africa? We have, I think we are still the largest producer, except probably Angola overtook us. In Africa, if we get the 400,000 barrels that is being stolen every day, there won't be any challenge. We will be the largest producer. So there's a market. Look, maybe they were not buying from Dangote. Is Dangote not selling his diesel? Is he not selling his products?
But now the NNPC has monopolized the petrol now. Say, no marketers can get that supply from Dangote except them.
And they added the proviso. They said the marketers cannot get because they cannot pay what Dangote will sell. They are suggesting subsidy.
Definitely.
They are suggesting that Dangote price is higher than what they are selling. Now, what? Maybe they told us that the landing cost is 1,200. Is Dangote's price higher than 1,200? What they are trying to establish is subsidy. Subsidy, they don't want that subsidy, whether it is imported or it is procured internally. The subsidy regime must be maintained.
Another thing that amuses me is the fact that when NNPCL was importing fuel, the pump price was about 650 or thereabouts.
And the other recovery was the same price.
That was when they were importing. Now that we have an existing refinery, we are refining locally. Nigerians are now paying more at 950 naira per litre, the pump price.
Because when we were buying at 600, 650...
Importing. When we're importing.
Yes, when we were buying through NNPC. NNPC was the sole importer of PMS. Now, they said, they came out openly and said they did under recovery of 600 naira. That the owners of NNPCL, which is the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, which is owned by the federal government, said, okay, how much are you buying? How much is the landing cost? 1,200. Okay, sell to them at 600. Use my dividend to cover the differential. They say it is 1,200. The current stock of crude oil that Dangote is refining was imported. And the ones they got through NNPC was bought at the spot market rate. You understand? So they imported everything. Even the one they got from NNPC was imported by the route through which they got it. So when NNPC, and they have taken this one, and they are saying they are not producing enough, they have done 111 million liters. Look, the situation NNPC Limited wants to create is confusion. They say the market is determining the price, yet they are regulating it.
And NNPCL wants to be the distributor.
And they are also saying that they have been empowered by PIA as the supplier of last resort. If that is in a situation where there is no competition, you see, NNPCL element, they must sustain the, what do you call it? The under recovery, the one we call subsidy. That is just it. And then, even the one that they have agreed to supply Dangote, 385,000. What is the arrangement? It is a continuation of the swap deal. You understand? They were taking it out before, they are giving it in now. But you see, Dangote is not going to antagonize them unnecessarily.
Okay, now, because of our time now, one more question on this oil issue now. Femi Falana has said that it is illegal for NNPCL to fix price of Dangote petrol.
They said they didn't fix price.
They actually did.
They said they want to negotiate how much are you going to...
But who gave the template? Template that, okay, in Lagos State we have 950 naira per liter. In this is a 1019 per liter. NNPC came up with the template.
They want to...
And this is a supply gotten from Dangote
They
refinery.
said they went to Dangote to buy. You understand? To negotiate. And when they negotiated, because they are a government entity, a limited liability company, that okay, they say they are negotiating. What they're suggesting is subsidy, that they are subsidizing this one too. That is why they can fix the price, because they are subsidizing.
I saw a comment on one of our social media, and it's quite amusing. It's more of a prayer, but a comical one. May you never abandon your refinery to become a distributor. Amen. Apparently talking about NNPCL. They have their own refineries that are not functional.
I can tell you that Porako will work this year.
You begin to sound like Mele Kyari to me now.
I am speaking from inside Porako refinery. I even 3 weeks. You see, they started production. No, they got stuck.
We've had many dates. We've had many dates in the past.
No. Where?
We had one in 2022.
We
had another one in 2023.
This one.
We had one.
They already started production. But what I find funny about the explanation, not from NNPC, from inside the refinery, is that, you see, you now tell me that you started production and then one of the processes got, stuck and all of that. I say, didn't you take all of that into consideration?
To many Nigerians, the issue of NNPCL and Dangote refinery is the more you look, the less you understand. You know
what the NNPC is likely to do when they start producing from Port Harcourt, which is not going to be much. You will see. It will be an attempt to subvert Dangote.
Okay, as we wrap up, let's talk about the issue of insecurity. And this is coming from another retired Army General. That is retired Major General
Theophilus
Danjuma. And he said, you can end banditry now. Let me put it another way. He said, end banditry, killings now, no room for excuses. Danjuma tells service chiefs. I mean, with the way he sounded, because I read so much about T.Y. Danjuma when he was in the military, and you begin to wonder the type of military armed forces that we had in his days. Will they allow banditry to thrive this long?
Times are different.
I mean, I think it is the spirit in him that made me say, end banditry now, end banditry, killings now, no room for excuses. He spoke like a true Army general. No room for excuses.
Yes, yes. You see, you are conditioned by environment. Certainly. You can manage your environment, you can control it, and all of that. You see, those times in which Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma was in the military and in this Nigerian space, they are quite different. Everything was defined. They went to war. You understand? They went to war. I mean, the battle lines were defined. This is a symmetrical war. The battle lines are not defined. There are ambushes. And
But what are characteristics of war? The major is life being lost.
yeah.
So in this banditry or bandit attacks and everything, we've had cases of many lives being lost. You can still equate the two, whether it is internal thing or
you know that in situations like this, more money will be voted for defense. You understand? And the more money, the merrier. The generals, war is business.
it has always been all over the world,
And let me add that it is big
not
business.
just in Nigeria alone.
And maybe the political leaders too think, let us engage them. They won't have time for, politicians are funny people. That is what the military they are engaged. Just leave them, let them continue their business there.
At the expense of people's lives.
You see, it is
But what would have prompted an ex-military general like this to have made the statement?
because the man is fed up. He understands what is happening. He understands what is happening.
So the people in service now do not understand what he understands.
It's not as if they don't know, but motive determines it. What was his own motive? Nationalistic motive. What is the motive of those who are commanding the troops and the generals and the military brass? What is their motive? Is it in whose interest are they operating? You understand? When they vanquish the bandits, the terrorists, and the insurgents, then what will they be doing? They go back to the barracks and sleep? Let them be engaged and let the war games continue.
All right, Comrade AYODEJI.
Generals don't in Nigeria. Just go and check it. Check the casualty rate of Israeli commanders to the casualty rate of Nigerian commanders, and you see who is leading wars.
But to be honest, I'm not satisfied with your response.
About
I mean, I asked a question that in the days of Danjuma, the likes of Danjuma, the likes of General
Those
Basanjo, the likes of
days are
Ibrahim
different.
Babangida, in the
No.
military,
did you have what they call the axis of evil?
do you know that even as we speak now, probably there's a particular community under attack of these bandits, which has been trending for days, and these people do their operations unabated.
I will cite another example.
Now we're having an election that so much forces,
Physical force
physical forces, are being sent.
deployed. Now, I will just give you another scenario.
As we wrap up.
Right after the Civil War, one phenomenon developed: armed robbery. It was almost strange to us in Nigeria. Armed robbery. Armed robbery has become a part of our lives now.
The
Abi?
days of Follow Shaw,
Aha.
Abonilis.
It was very strange. Eventually, armed robbery, armed with guns and sophisticated, then it became a part of us, and then we will continue to live with it.
All right, Comrade AYODEJI Shokpe, it's been a very wonderful session with you this morning, as usual, actually.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
enjoyed the
I
perspective.
enjoyed the interrogations too.
All right, we'll do this again tomorrow morning.
By
God
God's
willing.
grace.
All right, that's the much we can take on the program this morning. Thank you very much for staying tuned to your number one radio dial, Solutions 93.9 FM. Of course, we'll be back again tomorrow to give you a fresh edition of the program. But any moment from now, we shall be having an outside broadcast transmission, which I think the governor, executive governor of Oyo State, is commissioning the newly upgraded airport, Ladoke Akintola.
From Ladoke Akintola Airport.
So once as soon as we get the signal, we'll be linking up with our OB crew over there to give you the happenings live. My name is AYODEJI LAFENWA, wishing every one of us a winning Wednesday. Good morning.